Hey everyone, I have never done this before, so please work with me. I started 3D printing June of last year. Bought a 3D printer for my kid, and now I'm, hooked. So I keep seeing a lot of questions and things regarding like starting out. And believe me, when I started this journey, I was way over my head. I had no idea what I was doing. So I'm on Maker World right now, and I have my account already logged in. So you want to print something that's multicolored. You scroll through things. Um, this is what shows up on my For You stuff because I'm a nerd and my family's full of nerds. Ooh, we'll do Snorlax. So when you click on it, this is what it is. This is the creator. And then this says print profile. If you're working with a snap maker you want, my opinion, you do not have to worry about any of this. Um, yeah, you don't have to worry about it. So here it says designer, and what that means is this person, that's theirs. All of these are ones that other people have created and loaded up to it. Now, if you want to use the multi head feature of View 1, this right here, it's one plate and it shows all the colors. One, two, three, four. Okay, that's not a good example. Let's go back and find a good example. We'll do the nerds. I like the nerds. Same thing, designer, designer. So this one is no AMS. So that means um, it prints in the parts on different plates, different colors. This is it's all printed in one solid piece for like the U one. Again, designer option. From here, gotta be careful with your mouse, but you can click on this and it gives you details of how much filament you're looking for each thing. Now you click here. You have the option of opening in Bamboo, downloading a 3MF, or download the STL CAD files. If you want to do color, this is just what I've learned. You have the 3MF, and there it is. Now I can open it from here. However, sometimes it's a little picky. So I'm going to come here and open my plain Orca slicer. I like Orca. I'm going to click New Project. Up here, I'm going to click File, Import. Import 3MF. And it's already set to my download folder, but in Apple, I have to go to Macintosh, my profile, wherever your downloads are. And I just did the nerds a few minutes ago, so you open your nerds, and there he is. Now I have mine set up to my SnapMaker, and I made my own profile for printing. With that being said, on here's a bunch of profiles that come loaded. They're pretty self-explanatory, and you can explore and check out the different parts in each one. However, I found for myself, just doing a normal everyday print or a test print or a toy, because I print a lot of toys, I just had my settings preset. When I got everything the way I wanted it, I just clicked save, and I named it Casey. That's my nickname. Um, so in here's like all my layer heights. A lot of these settings starting out, you really don't have to worry about. It looks crazy and it's a lot of stuff. What's neat about Orca though is like this, avoid crossing walls. What does that mean? And sometimes when I hover over it, it'll tell me. Other times I can just click on it and it brings it up and explains it. Most of the time, everything's explained really good. Um, so yes, that's all the settings. Now for me, one of the settings I changed is I do my wall loops at 2. But over here, I changed my infill to 10% gyroid. And depending on what it is, sometimes I'll change it, but in case I forget to change it, I'm happy with 10%. Sometimes I get on a creation spree or I'm in a hurry, so that's like my go-to setting. I don't really mess with speed. I let it do its own thing, unless it's something really special that I'm like, yeah, okay, we really need to slow this down to do it right. Now for supports, I have mine set up to enable supports, and I do trees on just about everything. I have my threshold set to 25%. Recently, I just started doing on build play only and support critical regions only. Um, Again, that depends on your project and what you're doing. For me, a lot of times it's an easy thing. I don't mind if it's got a little blemish or something on it. Um, let's see here. I said a lot of these you don't really have to mess with in starting out. I changed my top Z distance to 0.278 when I'm doing a point 0.2 layer height. This lets me remove supports a little easier. Now down here, I changed support object XY distance to 0.36. I've noticed with these settings, for the most part, my supports come off really easy and there's not too many issues with the actual print itself. Occasionally, I'll have some issues with the print um, where it wants to sag, things like that, but for the most part, especially small things, these settings work for me for removal. And then tree supports, the branch density, yeah, I put it at 10%. Oh, now it wants to pop up what it means. Multi-material. Lately, there's been an issue of prime towers on Orca. Uh, so there's a difference between purge and your prime tower. Purge is when you see those mountains that people have of little balls of filament, in essence, poop. And with the U1, and I imagine all the other new ones coming out like FlashForge and whatnot, you don't have those mountains. You still do get a poop bin per se, but it's only when you're changing out filaments, like you're switching them out. You know, I'm taking the black roll, putting it on the shelf, and bringing in a purple roll. Then it'll squirt out those little poop balls. Prime Tower is different. Prime Tower is going layer by layer with your print. You don't have to use a Prime Tower. I learned the hard way on a project. You use a Prime Tower, at least on things you care about. If it's something you really don't care about and you're doing um, like a draft of something, you don't need a Prime Tower per se. Now, one of the issues that Orca has been having with Prime Tower is it keeps giving off an error, almost like it's outside of the boundary. Let me see, it's way there. Let me see if it'll pop up the error. There it goes. So it goes beyond the plate boundary. Everybody's having this issue. Um, there's a few ways to fix it. You can move Prime Tower, or right here under width, a lot of times I'll just add a number or two, and then slice it again, and ta-da, it went away. It's a known problem, and it's being worked on. Um, so that's the issue with the prime towers right now. The rest of this, honestly, I don't really mess with it. I kind of let the machine do its own thing unless it's a specialty project. Like down here in the advanced, yeah, if I have a specialty project, I'm for sure using those. But doing this little guy, no. Under others, so in this area, this is your skirt loops and your brim. I did not know the difference between all these until just recently. If you're having issues with things sticking to your plate, with the U1's original build plate, I was having a lot of issues. And so that's why I learned the difference between all of these. And it's always set to auto, but you can change it to the mouse ears. Does like little ones on the corners. You can paint them on, or you can do the outer or the inner or both, or no brim at all. I find a lot of times the mouse ears or the outer will definitely help. I was having probably 50-50 for November, December, probably January. I was having like a 50-50 success rate. I was really disappointed because everything kept failing and it was nothing would stick. And I did hairspray, I did glue, I did so many different products to try to make my plate sticky and nothing was working. So I started doing the extra brimming and things started coming out flawless. Really, really good. Um, Now in special mode for slicing, under here in print sequence, occasionally you'll open a file like a clicker. Clickers are very good examples. And it'll show up on your screen with like one way over here, and way down here. And it's all the pieces to a clicker set. But these two are one color and this is a different color. What this allows you to do is have these two pieces on your build plate over here and your other odd color over here and be able to print it all on the plate. But if you print it by object instead, I know little things like that, it saves you a lot because you're not having to do the constant head changes and prime towers and yeah, it's that's a great time to use that. But it gives you like a bubble. Let me see if I'll do it. Yes, auto avoid. Oh, I'm still in preview mode. Um, let's see, by object. See, I'm still learning stuff too, guys. Normally it gives me like a little cloud around it, and the clouds can't. Oh, there we go. So you want them not touching when you're doing by object. So that's the hold up with the by object. Now fuzzy skin is really cool. Say we want this little guy to be fuzzy. Um, so here you can do different types and then your displacements and the noise and all this. And you have no idea what any of it means. You can click on this and it gives you a whole detail of what fuzzy skin is. And it even gives you pictures and explains all of it. How to do fuzzy skin, what it looks like, the whole 9 yards. Um, so yes, please click on those and research them. Now, exclude objects right here. This is best friend. This is why I have my own profile saved. I have this saved on it. It's not always clicked on. Make sure it's always clicked on. If you have a print fail, I have a bed full of these little nerds, and a print, one of them fails. It starts to spaghetti and go crazy. I can go to my machine and pause it and say, hey, I want to exclude this object, and I tap the screen which object it is. And it'll show up on your U1. It'll look kind of like this, and it'll be like a circle here, a square here for this guy, and a triangle for this guy. And you just tap on which one you want to exclude. And it'll stop printing there. And while it's paused, you can reach in and remove material out of the way if you need to. That is a very useful feature, and I wish I had that a long time ago. So that is pretty much my settings for this. Now, like I said, in strength, I have it set to 10%. These little guys being little knickknacks, I have no problems going down to 5%. And now say I want this little guy to be bigger. Right here is your scale button. I have everything in millimeters. I'm in America, yes, but I've worked on wrapping my head around my print build space is 270 by 270 millimeters. So it takes a little bit to get your head used to it. Fear not, you can always come up here to Work Slicer and go to Settings. And right here, Metric, you can change it to Imperial. So we want him bigger, but keep him uniform so he doesn't end up all weird shaped. We want this one, say, 100. And we want this guy really, really small. So we're going to try 25. So now we have 3 nerds in 3 different sizes. Now up here, this is if you want to add another plate. you're working with a lot of objects, you want to move things around, have space, or do multiple things all in one sitting. This is your auto orient. This will lay things how it thinks is best, which is not always the case. And then this is arrange objects on the plate. It's also right here. I would suggest starting out, get used to using it here, because if you have multiple plates and you start using that one like I do all the time, you end up with a jumbled up mess. So get used to using this right away. And now they are all sitting around. Well, let's do this. There we have all hail the prime tower. Just being funny. Um, so that is the basics of getting something started. From here you can slice the plate. And my prime tower is doing the thing again. Prepare. I'll move you over here. It's being a pain. There we go. Now, when you slice the plate, it tells you your information, how much filament each one's going to take. Now, mind you, the smaller spools that you can order through, I use Sunlu a lot. The small spools, those are 250 grams, generally speaking. And then your big spools, the most common, are your 1 kilogram. So again, that whole converting from American to metric, if you just start right out in your head, this is going to take 61.46 grams total. That's not too bad. That's not a whole lot of filament. It'll cost about $1.23 to make. And then your total time, according to this right now, is 2 hours and 19 minutes. Do not take that as the absolute word and stand there at the 2 hour, 19-minute mark, counting down for it to be done. It'll get done when it gets done. And that will take about 167 changes in filament. Now from here, what's really useful is this bar here. You can see everything inside, all the way down to the bottom, all the way back up. And it is useful to always do a double check. Make sure everything's good. Now say I'm going through here and I'm like, that looks way too big and open. That's way too hollow. I want him to have more strength. Then you come back over here to strengths and you change this, we'll say, back to 10%. It'll have you reslice it. And now they're much closer together and wiggly. It also changed our time, and that also changed how much filament we use. So that's something to be aware of. When you're ready, you have a couple options. My printer is hooked up here, so I can just click upload and it'll send it to my printer. If I am confident in what filament it is right here and what is in my printer, I will be brave and click upload and print. However, I always get up, walk over to my printer, and hit start and make sure the settings are the way I want my settings. A couple of times I have used this. I have been very wrong. So, and to do that, you click here and that will get you to set up. You just need your IP address and put it in, and you should be good to go. The other option, if you're going to use a thumb drive, you can hit export G-code file. And then you treat this like a normal file on your computer. You can export it to like your desktop. So like it has Nerd. I'm just going to put it on my desktop. I hit save, it'll save it on my desktop, and then I can just click and drag it to a thumb drive, USB stick, however you want to call it, and then put that in the back of the machine and load it from there. I hope this is a good how to get you started. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I have never done this before. I'm hoping to do more intro things. Just let me know. Thank you.